It's awful breezy. It's awful breezy. It's awful breezy. Where we at? Where we at? Where we at? Where we at? Hi, welcome to my tube. I thought I heard Benzo. My name's Marge. I'm a Hilke Empath. I just like having these little talks on the way I feel about things. That is Benzo. I did hear him. I did hear Big Face Benzo. I got my favorite shorts on today. I tried these shorts on in the beginning of the summer, and during the winter I drank too many of my feelings in coffee because I put creamer in my coffee. I can't even drink regular coffee anymore. I'm so desensitized. Are you guys catching up to the desensitizations of the nations? So these are my favorite shorts. And I probably won't get to wear them again till spring because they're D-bags are us. No, I'm kidding. They're like linen. I'm so particular about stuff, and I will pay freaking. I used to pay. I like stupid like. To me, $100 for a pair of shorts, or $50, $60 for a pair of shorts is stupid. That's what crazy people do. Please do not drip your face juice on my belongings, Benny. And nobody wants to see the southbound end of your northbound dog. I think your little Tukis is cute, but ain't nobody want to see that Benno. What are you listening to today, Benny? I'm wired for sound. I'm connected by. My earphones broke because I'm too hard on things. So it makes me mad when I put them on and they break. I mean, they still work, but like this one pops out now. It's broken, and so either I deal with the frustration of that happening, or I listen to Wired. And so I've been listening to Wired. Good boy, Vanny. Good boy. Settle in, bud. Settle in. We're just going to have a talk. We'll just bounce some stuff back and forth. Talk about a morning, how things have been. What's going on. I was just listening to Peaceful Easy Feeling by the Eagles. Whoops. I didn't mean to make you guys... No, stop! I don't want no copyright infractions! Man, those tubesies. Call them the tubesies. Tubezis. Tubesies. You tubesies. Censorship. And then say, no, we have everybody's freedom of speech. Everything's where everybody can say whatever they want. And then their algorithms are all, omit. Heyoka. Block out Heyoka. Don't let people find Heyoka when they search for Heyoka. I look for me. I can't find me when I look for me. I look for me on Google. And I should have a lot of shit. I've been in IT for freaking 10, 15 years. I put myself out there because I live out loud. I don't hide. I live what I think. And there aren't the two different are in sync. I was explaining to Mom, I woke up this morning, tell a little bit of a story about my morning with the big red truck. She got her new brake shoes. She's dancing pretty nice, doing the sidestep. That was my word for the day, I think. No, the buck and wing. She's doing the buck and wing because she just got new brake shoes. The big red truck. She just dances along. She's just a big old girl. She don't dance real fast though. We don't gun it, see, because we live in spirit now. We want her to last, so we don't gun her and freaking run her hard and drive her. And she already did that in the first part of her life. She's on her second engine. She's on her second heart, so I gotta treat her right. She's got the heart of a Cadillac. She's got a little Cadillac engine in there, 350. Anyway, I'm not good with all the numbers. So she's been choking in the morning. I'll tell you I'm going to go back a little bit at the beginning of this story because it started about when one of them retrograded. I can't keep track. I'm trying to just stay in the present moment. And happy Venus new moon, or Virgo new moon. Virgo is a verb. That is the funniest thing. Virgo is a verb. That is like the most accurate thing. I love Virgos, man. I love them. I love Virgos. And I don't understand them at all. I just love them. Because I don't got Earth in my chart. I don't got planets in Earth in my chart. So, it started a few days ago when I went and got gas. And I know better. And if you're listening, you want little tricks of the trade, I give them all the time in my little talks. Here's one of them. When you're at the gas station and the gas truck is there and they're putting gas in the tanks, don't get gas there. Because what happens is, yeah, there's only one hole that the hose goes down into the tank, but every time they open the door, freaking debris and shit falls in there. Plus, they don't really clean out fuel tanks anyway, you know, so you're just one source to another, and time after time, from just transferring shit and just the wear from the inside of the tank because it's metal, and that wears down because the stuff they put in is corrosive like fuel, so you get, you know, all kinds of, like, you know, rust chips and shit like that gets sucked into the gas tank. So when they get gas, when you go to the gas station and they're putting in, they're dropping fuel on it, and so it's stirring up all this shit in your gas tank. So don't get gas at that place that day, okay? Because that you're liable to get that stirred up shit into your tank. Okay? Little hint. And so I wasn't paying attention, and I got gas that day. And then she's been riding rough ever since. And then, I'm a mechanic trained by the United States Air Force, off at Air Force Base. And, well, let's start with "It Was a Sin" by the Revivalist. That's what we'll start with. I feel like a Muppet. When I was a kid, I was always thinking, wondering, scowling about stuff. People said I was scowling, but I wasn't looking at my face. I didn't know what my face was doing. And they're like, people always come at me, "What's wrong with you? What's wrong with you?" I'm like, "I'm trying to figure it out." "What do you mean, what's wrong with me? What's wrong with you?" And then I got a chip on my shoulder. And then I'm the bad guy. Leave me alone. I'm thinking. So, anyway, I got gas that day. And then she started running rough. And then what happened is I turn that down a little bit. It's a little evasive in my ear right now. A little overbearing. Can't get my bearings if it's over bearings. Over my bearings need to be paramount right now. So she was real low on oil, so we addressed that, and I'm gonna check her every week. Like Monday morning, we're gonna be hanging out. I'm gonna check her oil, and her dipstick is so finicky. She's just such a turdy little dipstick. So we're just gonna wrestle that, work it out. Maybe she'll settle into an arrangement with me. If I treat her just right, she'll cooperate a little more. But that dipstick, pain in the ass. I hate checking oil, man. It's so funny. It's like, I love that truck so much. You gotta keep her, so you gotta do something you hate to keep something you love. You know, it's balance. It's just how it works out. So I got her back, you know, and when I took her in yesterday, I'm like, she's still sucking air first thing in the morning. She's still sucking. Oh, okay, we'll have someone look at it, right? And I was like, my father figure said there's a fuel filter, and I know that on this fuel filter. I'm like, you know, and I saw it, and I sent him a picture of it, I thought, but he's like, no, it's under there. It's under there more. So, I told him about that, and there, you know, I don't know, things in the shop. I understand how things fall through the cracks, because I just have seen things fall through the cracks. It's amazing. That's why it's like, who gets to go up above the cracks? It's an exclusive group, and anyway, so I understand how balls get dropped and shit like that in environments. You know, I was the TODO, has waste management officer for off at Air Force Base. I know all about it. You know, so you know how things happen. From that to Gary Shadetree, the mechanic, the scumbag on Bellevue Boulevard. Dude, that guy was a dick. I'll tell a story about him from one extreme to the other. He'll be the dark side, of this story. So, my example of a shade, how we get knowings about people from their names and stuff like that. Shade tree. He was a shade tree mechanic. He's a shifty motherfucker, man. Dump his oil in the back of his operation, and the EPA guys come out, and they'd end up laughing, you know, good old boys. This is totally illegal, but you're cool, and you got great hair, so fuck it, you know. His shit was laying up against a woman's fence, and she came and asked him politely to get his stuff off, the move it, because it's knocking the fence over, and she had to have the fence replaced, and he's like, you do it. Yeah, that guy's a piece of fucking shit, man. You know, and I've seen, and they always had the young, I mean, and it's like the older they get, they still hang out with the girls that are like freaking too young to hang out with you, you freaking dirty perv. It's, anyway, so, back to the big red truck story. That was the shadow part of it. Now it's back to the light. So, I got up this morning, and I was like, what time do they open? And so, I got this knowing. See, I had a wild night dream sleep, too. I had the most lucid dreams I've ever had. I controlled my dreams. It was freaking wild. It was beautiful. I loved it. We'll talk about that later, maybe, if I don't run my mouth too long. Because Mom's going to need breakfast soon. And, so, I got on the phone with them, went out, started the truck. She was sucking air. With them on the phone, I'm like, okay, here's the situation, because I had Dwayne on the phone. He was my favorite guy. I communicate the best with him. And then so, I think that's what his name is. Black bandana for a face mask. And I'm like, okay, it's doing it now, so I'm going to just come to the shop. So I went to the shop, walked in, and I'm like, okay, we gotta go way back. She's still sucking air. What I'd like you guys to do is to look at the fuel filter. Because I've talked to 3 different guys, but now I'm in the room with 2 of the guys. Because you gotta get people on the same page. And you don't know where everybody's frame of reference is, and I got such a vast, broad spectrum, I'm just trying to get everybody on the same board, okay? So I'm like, here's the situation. It's not the oil, she's still sucking air. Would you guys freaking look, if there's a fuel filter on there, change it. Just fix my mind. Just fix my mind. Just change it. If there's a fuel filter, change it. I don't care if it needs to be replaced, just change it. And if you happen to drop about freaking 15 gallons of fuel out of the tank, I won't be mad about that too. And he was like, huh? I said, I don't know. I want to be above board in all ways I can. I don't know. I know that the control freaks in Oregon are ridiculous. I don't know what the standards and policies for haz waste is here. But if there's a way to do it proper, because this all started with bad gas. And it's not going to do no good that if you change the fuel filter and I still got shit gas in my tank. See? And the guy's like, oh shit, this lady knows what she's talking about. And he's like, okay. And then it was like, when can you get me guys? Because it's better that I have this stuff to focus on. Because then I have this to focus on, the present moment, being in this day. Because everybody has shit that is coming down the road, and it feels like a train coming at them, you know, like a deadline or something. Everybody has it. But you don't even know if tomorrow's going to come, honestly. The poles could flip. We could all fucking die. Excuse my language. I'm trying to not cuss. I'm trying to be more present in my spirit, and I'm going to try not to cuss as much. I still get fired up, so I am a human being. I am a spirit having a human experience, yet I'm still a human being, and my imperfections are vast and broad, and my character defects are deep and wide. You know? They're far between, I'd like to hope, but I got a lot of character defects. I'm just trying to work through my demons too, man. I even had a cool conversation with the dude at the freaking he was standing out there, like, you know, on it, kind of on its tippy, like playing on the curb, like rocking back and forth and stuff, like, you know, like you do. And he's looking at the sun, and I was like, it's a much better day, isn't it? I said, it feels better. He's like, yeah, because you can tell he has peppermint stuff. I said, it feels pretty good today, huh? And he's like, yeah, it does. I said, you know it's the end of times, right? And he's like, yeah, it kind of feels like that. I'm like what they talk about in the Bible, the apocalypse. He's like, it sure does kind of feel like that. I'm like, dude, I said, man, Satan got too big. You've been winning for too long. And people, I said, I grew up in the 70s. People are like, that Jesus stuff, made fun of people, the Jesus and the God people, and the talk trash about them, made fun of them. And they're just the do-gooders and, and then they're, I don't know, I had a lot of people from churches that were real mean to me, but I had a lot of people from churches that were nice too, and there are a lot of people from churches that act like that they're nice, but they were really mean. But it don't matter if you're in a church or an auto parts a shop, it's the vibration of the place, and you know how it feels when you walk into it. So if something don't feel right, just don't engage. That's why I kept going to this Cascade, this shop. Because they always, every time they're right across the street from the veterinarian's office. They always watched them when I was waiting for the dogs and stuff. Their shop's in good standing. They got a good, nice operation. It's not trash. It's not disgusting. There's not garbage everywhere. There's not oil spills everywhere. They're not freaking all fat slobs that are eating more than they're working on people's cars and stuff like that. You watch it's. People really got to align themselves with what they believe in these days, and so this guy and I were talking. I said, and then, you have all the guys, the country guys that got, you believe in God, if you want to go down that lane, I can get way more derogatory. I'd rather not do it on the tubes. Maybe I'll do live talks one day, and they'll be more, uncensored, because as much as I still keep it R here, but life is rated X in a lot of ways, and so a lot of my life experience, I go to a lot more detail with the grossness. It seems like that's what people like it draws to them. And then what happens is, I was thinking about that today, about Drakkar Noir, about how many women got sexually assaulted, and men, how many people got sexually assaulted by somebody that wore Drakkar Noir. And then, because it was so big in the 90s, and then it came back around. I wonder what would happen if that came back around now, and how many people would be triggered on the recognition that what happened to them wasn't consensual, and then that put them in a frame mind of being told no, you're crazy, And then, but it's that memory smell that everybody's being triggered. Everybody's DNA is fucking waking up right now, dude. So if your family line is slave drivers, the people that have always benefit from the hierarchical caste system, slave driven system, but that's not how it is, but that's how it is, Freaking George Washington had his dentures all belonged to other people. They were all teeth in other men's mouths. Come on, folks. Facts is facts, yeah. There's a lot of good in people, when the darkness out freaking balances the shadow. It kind of freaking doesn't mean shit that they're good that they did, does it? Really? It kind of taints it all. I used to like Lady Gaga's music, and Ed Sheridan, all those people I just can't stomach, knowing what systems they promote, the Luciferian ways, and I was finished up on the conversation with the fella at the auto parts store. It was and then when I started talking, he was like, start getting the head nod. People start nodding at what I say. They don't even realize it. I used to see that when I'd talk in meetings, talk to the ones that are nodding the heads. Like you said, in the beginning, talk to you're there to teach the ones that are want it. So when you go out and you're speaking to large crowds, and if you're nervous about, cause I'm used to, I don't care. I'll speak in front of freaking million people. I'll speak in front of one person. I will speak the same way. It don't matter. I was like, when I came home, and then I was telling him, I said, well, look at what they're doing, man. They're glorifying freaking Satan over God. More than 51% of the earth is or 50.01%, if you want to get rounded brass tack, or whatever. I don't know, all depends on how you look at it. But more than 50%, 50 and a little splash, are worshiping and have been worshiping and glorifying Satan more than they have Jesus Christ. And I'm for Team Jesus, white hats, whatever, white witch, white light bean, hit the hydration station, atta girl. I think I freaking figured out why Luna's eye got raw from Tucker licking on her. Because he's a freak. He came up and gave me kisses this morning. I'm like, dang, man, I love you so much. Your tongue is so abrasive. I'm like, you're going to lick. And then, and she got a little sore. And when he gets nervous and she gets nervous, they like it. They all suckle on each other. That's little, that's what you do. You're supposed to be able to have people, friends, family when you're scared. Make me feel better. I got to let her out. She said, bitches get stitches and a bitch don't want to just go outside and do the thing and say hi to Retta. Go say hi to Retta. Where you been? She got sugar hips and sugar hips. Sugar hips and sugar hips. How you doing, Mom? You want an apple or something? Yogurt? You want an apple?
She's in the she called us.
Starting to sound a little fadey. I'm going to start leaning in the chair. Oh my gosh. I need to look up this chick that's singing right now in my ear and see what kind of trauma. See, I'm a trauma kid. I'm one of those people that's seen so much stuff and then it was like, you see so much stuff, it's so normal. You go to school, you think that when everybody else goes home that like their lives are like that. So when I was a little girl, that my life was so freaking nutty and crazy and scary that I would wonder what their lives were like. And unbeknownst to me as an empath, I'm extrasensory perceptive. So like that Drakkar Noor story I was talking about, so that's what I do. Like when I get taste or I'm given taste and smells to give me recognitions, to give me ideas and lines of thought. That's how I'm guided in my life. Training wheels. Melanie Martinez, the music that she sings about, she knows what's up. She knows what's up. She's seen some darkness too in the industries. You see, there's all these stuff, like I've been divinely guided. I used to think I was neglected, just didn't, get the same benefits that everybody else got. When I was 15, I remember going into the counselor's office and going, dude, my mom's boyfriend tried to kill me. He grabbed her and he also made her have a stroke. He freaking picked her up. He beat the shit out of her, picked her up, put her head in the between the door. This is a graphic warning. A graphic warning. I should do that sometimes. Held her head up and freaking slammed her head in the car door of a 1964 Chevy Biscayne. I heard about that on the way in because she broke up with him. Or actually, I said, you ain't never, or every time you hang out with this man, something bad happens to you, so you're just not going to hang out with him anymore. I would do that thing. I would do that. I would run men off. From the time I was little, I didn't like a guy. You are bad. No, Mom, you don't. I hate it. Bad eyes. It was all bad eyes. They got bad eyes. And I'd seen her get raped because she didn't listen to her 6-year-old child, and I had to witness that, and so did my brother. I wanted to get up and stop it, and he grabbed me and said, go back to sleep. I was always the fighter. He was always the ignorer. But see, I'm a woman. I guess it's easier for men to ignore. I don't know. I guess it's an individual thing. I guess I'd have to ask everybody that it ever happened to actually come up with a consensus. And since I don't think people really want to talk about it, that ain't going to happen. So we're never going to really know the 100% of any situation, the outcome. There's always secrets and other dealings and higher knowings and beliefs and knowledge. And we're all it's like Active Directory, where you get permissions, you go work at a company, and the IT department sets up your access, your badge, what rooms you can go to, what floors you can go to, what programs you can go to, drop their name in this category, in this category. We're all just set up to see what we're allowed to see, what we're supposed to see, intended to see. We all got a full spectrum from dark to light, and we get to choose the shit we look at. So we got to be real careful about what we're showing to people and the messages that we're trying to convey. Because you spend too much talking about the dark people, you're still giving dark people press. They're still getting their press. Negative press is good press. So the guy at the part store, I'm going to finish this damn story. I was like, they're glorifying Lucifer, man. Lucifer is Lucy, the Lucy Fairy. That's what I call him, Lucy Fairy. The Lucy Fairy is what number what on Netflix? Netflix. I'm about this close to canceling my Netflix. About this close. Ordered Longmire on DVD. That's the only thing we watch. And then I'm like, how often do you look at Netflix, Marge? How often? I don't find stuff I like really on Netflix. I watch Hulu and mostly on YouTubes. I'm on the tubes these days, listening to reports because there's a lot of information. There's a lot of data that, there's a lot of people. See, I look at it like, sorry, Benzo. Must be the Benzo. Benzo. Is that Marge? It does the water Benny shit. Sorry, Benno. This is a pretty handsome man. He's got that ear, man. It's just because it gets wet and moist. I can't keep it dry. I can't keep it dry inside, and then it gets soggy, and then it gets like gooey. But today's a good day. It's Virgo moon, and Virgo's a noun. Let's see who's in the talkie room. And it's Thursday. I could be nothing. I hope you're good today. See, you know what? I'm sad about mom's nails. I'm OCD. I guess I don't like those. I don't like the programmer's terms, but I understand why people use them so they can relate on a certain level. I am particular. I'll just say that. I'm super particular about most everything, and that's why I have to not take things so seriously, because I can not do life because I can't do it how I picture it in my head, so why would I even try? I burnt myself out when I moved to Oregon because I just kept trying to get a job, and it just kept chipping away at my spirit, and I allowed freaking the lower vibrational demons to come in. That's why I don't have water. I let the demons come in. And slowly but slowly, the more I get, the closer that Mom and I got, because Mom and I I always loved her. She was always my mom, but I always knew that she didn't like me, and that she, whether she wanted to or not, when she was born with me, they cut her uterus in half and took one of her ovaries out, and now those storylines a woman came forward and she's blowing the whistle because they're still doing that shit. They're still doing that shit. It's these evil people. People don't want to ignore evil, and then evil got to get so big it's running the world, and now freaking God's gonna save it, because people are gonna wake up to their connections, their DNA, their spiritual lineage into the gods of which we're derived from. We're all just little pieces of God. What God? People get to decide. People have been deciding to choose to freaking line their spiritual belief systems with Lucifer and Satan, because that's where all the money and all the riches and all the prime property and the prestige is. I was listening to Pockets of the Future. Is that his name? Kooks everywhere. AWOL Nation. That's the truth, yeah. Where is it? History. Pockets of the Future. I really like that guy. I like that guy a lot. And he used to be in the system. See, when Mom's boyfriend, I started that story, when Mom's boyfriend tried to kill her, well, there's the next week he had gotten drunk at a park, and then like the sheriff called and said, because his last known association was with my mom, so they called, got a hold of her, and said, you need to get him out of Central Valley, or we're going to throw him in jail. And of course, you know, she's of that line. That's how I know about these women. But I love him. Oh my God, ladies. He ain't who he's telling you he is. Yeah. So anyway, so long story short, RPD ended up freaking drawing a gun on me, their firearm on me. I was a 15-year-old girl, and he was not even with us. You know what I mean? He was nowhere around. So if you know, and because he ended up chasing me around a car he grabbed Mom's cane, broke it over her wooden cane, broke it over his leg, and was chasing me around, and I was gonna kill you, and he fucking dude was trying to kill me, and over here I'm just like, come at me, motherfucker, because I kicked him in the back of the head is what started it all. But because he was talking about how he wanted to kill me, and how he stood over my sleep many times with a fork, and he was gonna gouge out my eye when I slept. And I believe that he did that, actually. I believe that to be true. He was a really good-looking guy, too. I don't even think that men are good-looking, but he was a good... So that's like you know, it's just like, I know what demons are. They're just void of spirit. They're just void of spirit, but they got all the other shit going on for them. So Pockets of the Future is talking about Kobe Bryant, and I was just like, most people take their kids to their basketball games and shit in a car, not a helicopter, you know. And I don't like sports and all that just for those reasons, because they're all made up for, you know, privilege. It's all a group inclusion. It's all this division and hierarchical, and it, you know, oh, you're the right color. You know, I always put Caucasian on my shit because Mom was adopted, but because Grandma had light skin, Grandpa was brown, but I always just thought we were white, so I just always put white Caucasian, and I'm very little white, turns out, because both sides of my family have had DNA tests, and there's not a lot of white in me. But I think that that's the only way that I got through in life, is because I identified with Caucasian, because then people see me and they're like, how the fuck did you get here? You know? You know? Like, how did you, you know, why are you here? Because I'm Marge, and I'm supposed to be. Anyway, I've been rambling on enough, I think. I've been going on for like freaking almost an hour, I think. I feel pretty good about today, because, I'm gonna quick tell the story about my nighttime excursion. See, I believe that dreams are our spirits are experiencing the same life that we're experiencing, same experience that we're experiencing in our wake time, just from higher dimensions, from higher perspectives, from more in-betweens, you know, with less fear and less judgment, so we see more than we're allowed to see. And there was a little girl that drowned in my dream last night. And I looked right in her eyes when she did it. And I think it was in honor and respect of the spirit that passed, that Jesse Zaboter tells the story about, and what those evildoers do. And see, a lot of us traumas kids, we've been through so much trauma, and then people like to hear the stories of it because it's intriguing, but what they don't know is they're still going. Like, I tell people stories and they're just looking at me like, so you understand? That isn't a kind and loving face. You know? And I was one of those that my mom didn't mirror, because she couldn't soothe, she didn't know how to calm me down, because I wasn't colicky. I had Addison's disease. You know? So they had to wrap me extra tight, because I was wound extra tight, because I received everybody's information. You put me in a room with people, I might levitate. It's getting to be sensitive like that, because people are getting that much more sensitive, you know, sensitive to taste, smells, colors, frequency. People are starting to see more orbs and shit. People are going to start seeing more fairies and inner earth beings and new varieties of species That was a cool one. I put a post, somebody made a cool comment on a post I put on Snapnax on Instagram. I don't think you need an account. It's snap_nax. I think. Or is it all one word? Snapnax. See, you gotta be clear. Snapnax, one word. Snapnax, one word. Of a bee, a new variety that I've never seen before, and someone made the cool point of it. It looks like it merged between, it's a emergence between a bee and a fly, and it's like Magenta Pixie talks about, you know, it's but I've been seeing it in iridescent since I looked at the Great American Eclipse. I see birds as they actually are, not just, you know how the camera picks up lighting. Cameras are just, our eyes see light like that, but what do people do? They keep freaking their eyes set at 20/20. They keep striving for one focus when there's so much more to see outside of all of that focus. See, it's a beautiful thing, it's a wonderful thing, it's a glorious thing. It's all God things. So if people want to put dark shadowy shit on the goodness, on the miracles and the abundance and the most beautiful things that God has to offer through our manifestation, from us doing the footwork, He gives us the ideas and we make it happen. We could have heaven on earth, people. Where we go one, we go all. We're all connected. God, it could really get good, man. It could really get, it's really going to get good. Hey, Coral, what's up? Yeah, it's like that in Oregon too. But I actually, but see, the thing of it is you find the right places. You find the right places, and once you get inside, they're gonna be like, it's like the speakeasies. You know, back in the Prohibition days, they had places, hidden bars where the demons can go. Drinking is such a bad, evil thing, man. It totally, the demons come in it. How many evil things have happened under the defense of I was drunk. So, but there's going to be places, little pockets of freedom. The world ain't going to be like this because we're at the end. It's just we're just at the end of the darkest days, and then the light's going to come through. It's going to be a long, hard winter. It's going to be a long, hard winter, but this spring is going to be like nothing ever. It's going to be like the resurrection of Jesus Christ for everyone. Is how I look at it. Is if people just keep living in their faith and not bringing anger into any situation, even if you gotta let somebody win, even if you got, and I'm saying I gotta say this stuff to myself because I'm a hothead. I'm a total hothead. That's why I shaved my hair up so high and all the way around, because I want to have long hair, but I get so hot that when I get hot in my head, that I am less inclined to use my filter, and people deserve a filter. You know, just because I think things doesn't mean that I have the right or the power or the right to say every single thing I think. So I gotta learn to use my filter more. But I'm a little out of practice. I gotta tell you, I don't have a lot of interpersonal relationships with people right now, and you know, I'm a little behind the curve, I think, in that area. But I'm ready to come back. I'm ready to come out and practice and put my best foot forward and be the better version of myself than I was yesterday, and hopefully we get her tomorrow to try and practice in that still in that